Hello. Oh, guess I'm not mute. Well, anyways, welcome back to another stream. He showed up, and he wants to kill Don Hank. Now I have to see why. I hope you guys are having an amazing day or evening. Hello, Fenchele. Hey there, Audrey. How are you? Oh, hey. Hey, Kens. So, yes, he showed up and he wants to kill Don Hank. I so want to know why. Okay, so right now I have lost my little puppy, so I have to find him, right? Okay, right. I'm so happy calling him that. So, how are you all? I almost ended the stream like a baka. Okay. Oh, no. Oh yeah, this guy can die. A question, is the game musicking? Hello there, Kevin is not here. You're so totally not here. So yes. Oh, you're not feeling okay? I hope you get well soon.
Does that hurt?
Oh, of course, that would hurt. I'm doing okay, Audrey. Thank you very much for asking. Oh my, do we need to pay for that? Right. Welcome. Oh,
Mr.
look,
Yang,
he's
someone's
dead.
hurt.
I don't mind, he's just hurt.
Up ahead. You're hurt, son. Try not to talk.
Right.
March, use your 6-phased ice to stop the bleeding. Go easy. We don't want to add frostbite to his list of complaints.
I'm on it.
This area saw fierce fighting only recently.
Oh, that guy's
Let's
trying to...
keep searching. There might be other survivors.
How about a no? Oh, so that's why. Oh, so that's why. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. So yes, right.
Up ahead. Please, leave me.
Okay. We all play Uno, you know, however you call that. Oh, yes, we could. Maybe. The thing is, I've been trying to plan a community game thingy for the stream someday, like once a month or so. So we can come up with a game that many people can play. This place looks good. How was Billabong? That was nice. I liked it.
There are wounded everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The silver lining is that, based on what we can see, no civilians were caught up in the battle. I'm guessing the Xianzhou must have evacuated the port immediately, leaving the soldiers to deal with the crisis. But as for these corroded monsters...
The boss was really cool as well. And the song, when she transforms into something else. Wildfire, was it? I have to investigate. Oh,
Ahead. Please.
Oh, everyone's gonna say the same thing. Okay.
Careful. We've never seen this...
Careful. What do you mean? Well, which arc is your favorite?
Cutting the net.
Oh, yeah, it did lag. If it does, just close your eyes. It's gonna be fine soon.
Time to say bye. Boom.
Nap time.
That's there and this is there, and that is so bad. Isn't it?
Time to say bye. Boom.
Oh, yes, it did, didn't it? Sad. Very sad.
Stand still.
So, here's the thing that I did in this game. I created a second account to get Acheron. I kind of like her as well. But I think we're fine with the code for now.
Miss Tingyun, fall back!
A fox lady.
Hey, you there! We need your help.
You're so calm. She's more like, oh, hey there. I'm about to die. Can you please help me, maybe?
Thanks for saving Beauty from the beast. Pleasure. But are you thanking us or giving
I really
yourself a
do like
compliment?
it. It is growing on me. I like this game. Yes, Kevin.
Time to move.
Nap time.
Relax.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles.
Lance, forward!
Wait, who is it that I
Stand
kicked
still.
out? Oh, March is not on the team. So when is it that we will get the golden relics?
Time to say bye. Boom.
After 40, 45?
Miss Tingyun, the Mara struck have been repelled, but there could be other dangers nearby.
Mara struck. Oh. So now I remember.
The situation is serious. Allow us to escort you back to the Skyfaring Commission. Immediately.
hey, Ash. I like her eyes. Oh, hey there, Shadow. You're alive, I see.
Calm down, I heard you. It'd be rude of me to depart without thanking our benefactors. My name is Ting Yun. I'm the ambassador for the Lawfu Skyfaring Commission Merchant Guild. May I venture to know the illustrious names of my heroes?
Illustrious names? Sure. I'm March 7th. This is Mr. Yang. Oh, Mr. Welt Yang. And this is...
Forgot my name already, Marsh? Hello, I'm Dorothy Destiny. Ha! Hey there, King. How are
I see.
you?
Well, thank you for coming to our aid. Although there is one thing I don't understand. Starskiff Haven is under lockdown. Since none of you are Xianzhou residents, may I ask how you came to be here?
Hello, Devil King. How are you? Yes, doing good, King. How are you? And this is Baka Small Black Cat. Ha! Seems like the fox here doesn't want to live for long.
If you can't offer an explanation, I'm afraid these Cloud Knights will have to escort you out.
We called for port transfer and got no response, but then someone opened the Jade Gate for us. When we arrived, there was no one to be found, so we started to make our own way through.
There is something that I've been meaning to tell you all. Right, Miko, why? Maybe. Probably. Oh, that thing just flew behind him. Oh, that thing is just flying. Okay, wait. Oh, shush me. So, it's really fun and it's kind of really feels good to see you guys interact with each other. Okay, there, I said it. No, shush.
How can that be? My ship was the last one into port before the Jade Gate was shut. The Skyfaring Commission has already locked down Starskiff Haven entirely.
We're telling the truth. You could verify it yourself by checking the access history of the Jade Gate. We found it strange ourselves when the gate opened, but no one came to greet us.
Yeah, because all of them were hurt. Kujo-Sara? Kujo-Sara? I think she was a little more to the serious side, right? No? Oh no, me evil. People scary. Yeah. What do you mean people scary? We're all scary and evil. That thing is flying again. It's distracting me. Oh, this one. Ah. Close your eyes, me.
You're with the Astral Express?
Yes, we are.
You've heard of us?
Indeed, I have. You've arrived at a bad time. The Xianzhou has suffered an incident. Whether you're here for leisure, treatment, or trade, I'm afraid you won't be able to go through with it. For your safety, you should hurry to Central Starskiff Haven and take refuge. I'll take you to Madame Yukong of the Skyfaring Commission and let her decide how to proceed.
We caught wind of the incident you mentioned.
Well, stop
That's
appearing
why
on
we're
my
here,
screen.
Miss Ting Yun, to help the Xianzhou seal
That
the
thing is gonna
Stellar
show
Honor.
up again.
Your actions have already revealed your kind hearts to me. Sadly, I can't make you any promises. You're outsiders, and only Madame Yukong has the authority to consider your offer. Don't worry, Madame Yukong is kind-hearted too. Come on now,
Okay.
I'll lead the way.
No, where was that thing? That is the thing, I believe. No. Oh, wait. I think I found it. Oh. No. I don't think I did. This was broken. I'm pretty sure it was going there, so... That only appeared in the cutscene. What?
Those monsters back there.
They were no monsters.
Those were not to be confused with monsters, benefactors. We call them Mara-struck.
So... She appears like a mix of Morak, Sarah, and Miko. Good. Yeah, right. I think so. There it is, left. No, it's not there. That is just being loaded. No one is flipping it out.
Why have we stopped?
Hello there, Suna.
Don't worry, miss. I have a favor to ask, that's all.
Favor? Count me out.
Good luck with the
What if we do it
art
wrong and you get your
competition
cloud cronies to throw us in jail?
I shouldn't have doubted you. Please accept my apologies. Our road
Okay.
ahead is
Alright, good luck with
barricaded,
that
you
thingy.
see?
Hope you win, hope you win.
The
Just do
soldiers
your
stationed
best
here
and
must have
forget
moved
about it.
these into a roadblock.
So here. I panicked when I saw a sword on accident. It was Excalibur. Shadow. No. Find a squirrel? No.
What? Does he look like a crane to you?
Maybe.
I'd like to see us try.
Me
They're
too.
extremely heavy.
The music is great
Even with
here.
all of us, we wouldn't be able to move one. Not that I'm doubting your skill, but I'd feel terrible if you hurt yourselves in the process. If I'm not mistaken, the containers in the Trove of Verdure can be moved around using a control panel. Oh, you've already put on quite the show. Do you think you'll be able to find and operate the control panel? It should be simple, right?
Well... Right.
I knew it. This will be a breeze for you.
Is she trying to manipulate us?
We just need to pass through here, take the barge to Starskiff Haven, and we'll be safe.
You
I
know,
don't
you
think this is
sound
gonna
sweet
be a
enough, but you were...
for us.
Say bye to breathing.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles. Soaring above the lands, this is permanence!
Stand still.
When the last rock. Ah!
Time to say bye. Boom.
Nap time.
When will I get a new character? I don't know. I lost my 50-50 thingy. If I manage to... Okay, if this doesn't work. If I manage to get this guy, I'll chop his hair. If I get this guy, I will chop his hair as well. Go on, this guy. Yeah. Arlecchino hair. Arlecchino's attack style. I have 13 standard pulls on Genshin. I went meowing. No. It was just the meowing thingy that I did yesterday. I think you were there, were you not there? And I'm saving all the wishes on Genshin. And for the... not limited. Oh yeah, the limited thingy. I think I have 80 wishes now. I am planning to get Nefer, and I do not have a guaranteed. Will I get her? I have no clue. I found the box! Am I going to flip this? No! Come back. She's just standing there playing with that thing. Where am I to go? I have to find my way all the way to this point. Right. Turn. The number of times I'm going to get lost here. I like this game. I like this game. I like this game.
You mentioned the Stellaron?
You work for the Skyfaring Commission, so I assume you're aware of its destructive power.
Oh, you're not the stabbable one.
Yes, I am. As an Amicassador, I've been to many planets and seen my fair share of Stellaron corrosion.
Cutting the net.
Am I the only one, or do these thingies look like the tiger guy from Demon Hunters? You'll
Time
get
to
her. You'll
move.
share Nicole luck with me. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I need all the luck there is to get her. Boot Hill. Why couldn't you come home? Okay, so here is the thing. Asheville, or whatever, Asheville, right, his name? Or Boot Hill. Hey, both are ill. This is so good.
Nap time.
Relax.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles!
Asheville. Okay. I will try to get him.
Stand still.
You want the gun cowboy man? He's the mafia boss dog man. Oh, I am on my way to save my puppy right now. I guess. Hello there, Arthur. How are you? Welcome to the stream. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, hey.
Does that hurt?
I hope it does.
Cutting the net. Time to say bye. Boom.
Nap time.
Healer is
The human
actually
body is
helping a lot.
beautiful in its fragility.
Hello there, Shaikwaza-chan. How are you? Oh, thank you very much for dropping by. Good to see you. I think I turned.
We can use it.
Get ready and watch your backs.
Is that a boss
Leave
fight?
it to me.
Oh, March.
They
Oh,
don't look
floating
happy to
box,
see
you saw
us.
it? Where? I don't see it. I hit him with the wrong thing.
Time to say bye. Boom.
Her full team. Okay, here is the thing. Can you guys let me know what Kafka's team is? It's Kafka, Sampu, and who else?
Land forward.
Stand still. Say bye to breathing.
You see a FTP player and you're guessing. Oh, thank you. Hey there, Klee. How are you?
Time
You're
to
having
move.
nachos? Yeah, we will move. Give me a minute. The reason why I'm running Kafka right now is that she's the only evil lady that I found in this game so far. Who needs a meta team when you have random things to throw at? Oh, right, that's there too. Okay, there.
Nap time.
As long as we're not dying. From Subnautica.
That's better.
Pancito! Hello, you here, Pancito?
Land forward.
Time to say bye. Boom. Relax.
Soaring above the lands. This is permanence. Merciful Medicus.
Whoa, it's so done.
Finally. Look how many tail hairs I lost on the way. Oh, my beautiful tail. Well, we had a difficult start, but things got easier. Look, that's the barge I was talking about.
Your beautiful tail. Oh my god. There it is. Hello there, Andrade. Welcome to the stream. Kafka, Black Swan. I don't know who that person is, and who or Don Hang. BT. Oh, I see. PT, the second form or the third form? Oh, hey there, Kevin on Twitch show. You got some popcorn, I see. Oh, I see. Terraform. Right. The one I have in the team right now. Okay, the second form of him. Oh, yeah, right. I do not have his third copy, so then good. Then I need those 4 people on the team now. I see. Shush, no, let us believe Donheng is necessary. So here is the thing, Ash. Donheng and Blade wants to kill each other. I have no idea. I don't know what to do. Yeah, right. Fen Chalet! Oh, wait. Wait, what?
Don't fret. All ambassadors know their way around a star skiff.
Oh, you want to
I
pet
was
her? She's
perfectly
cute.
calm until she volunteered to help.
Please take your seats, everyone. We'll be off right away.
There. Pancito's summoned. So, where were the flying boxes? Forget about that, we have a flying boat. An inverted bird head. That's severed. Don or Blady, someone please merge them together. Don't ask me that question. Who do I want to win? I don't know. Me. I want to win. Hey there, Conquest. Good to see you.
On behalf of the Skyfaring Commission, allow me to welcome you to Starskiff Haven.
Thank you
On the
very much.
Xianzhou Law
Good to be
Fu,
here.
anything relating to aviation, navigation, and trade falls within the scope of the Skyfaring Commission, which is one of the 6 commissions of the Law Fu. As the biggest port on the ship, Starskiff Haven is governed by the Skyfaring Commission too.
You definitely sound like a... what was it again? Oh, Amy Cassiter. By which I mean nice speech.
Oh, finally, hello, Pancito. Good to see you. I did not throw anything. I did not break anything. Trust. It's going good. I'm liking the story quite a lot. Conquest. She's terrible. Who is? Who is talking about Blade? You heard his name. So here is the thing, Audrey. We are going to merge him with Don Hang. You know?
That's too kind of you.
I
My
don't
job
know.
involves ferrying business delegates to and from Starskiff Haven, so I do this kind of introduction all the time.
She is smiling, but then I don't know. It feels like she's manipulating us.
Anyway, we're safe now. Normally I'd be a good host and take you around, but these are difficult times. Let's head to the Palace of Astrum first and report your arrival to Madame Yukong.
Hello there, Tabby. How are you? Good to see you, and thank you very much for dropping by. I hope you have a great evening, I believe. No, he's not? Aww. Good to hear. Oh yes, this one, I don't know why I didn't play this game until now. It is good.
Palace of Astrum?
Right there, the tallest building in the city. It's also the headquarters of the Skyfaring Commission. Let's hurry. We haven't got much time.
This lady? I'm not gonna say that name because I believe I'm gonna... yes, right. So I'm just gonna call her the Tintin lady, right? What's the hurry? Who's the person that says, what's the hurry? Who? Who was it? Genshin, right? What's the hurry? Who?
I don't mean to rush you, but if Madame Yukong holds me accountable for not getting you over soon enough, I wouldn't want to be around for the consequences.
Okay. Ah, him, right?
Sounds scary. I thought you said she was kind-hearted.
We need to make a few preparations before paying a visit to any of the 6 commissions. Rest assured, Miss Tingyun, we won't go anywhere. If you can inform Madame Yukong of our arrival first, we'll meet you at the palace entrance later.
There, she's cute.
Very well.
I like her eyes. You're happy that your game time started, long day working. I hope you relax well. Debbie. So, okay. Oh, do you guys want a picture? Wait. Oh, you did say something, Ash, about Kafka, right? She's in my team, and we are not on friendly terms with her in the story right now. That is so true. But we will know. We will know. You're traveling along to Twitch and YouTube. And Kevin, you're missing one more stream on YouTube. The bigger one. The horizontal theme. Oh, no. Yeah, right. I kind of pinned the text, the link. That one's scary. Oh, I see. Alright. Okay. Whatever makes you comfortable.
Little Miss Fox moves at quite the pace. I can't keep up with her. I've spent too long on the bench. Let's catch our breath for a while, huh? We can expect a packed schedule ahead.
How many of you have watched that anime where the main character just wants to unalive? And he kind of sleeps in this, I think Shadow knows the anime. Tough lady. No, a manipulating person.
That might be a little harsh, but
What do you mean?
she does put her own interests first. She did the right thing by not trusting us initially. We were an unknown quantity to her. As for the rush, my guess is she's just eager to get us out of her hair and further up the chain.
No longer allowed in another world is the name of the anime.
It'll be all right. We're not trying to stand in her way. We have nothing to hide from her.
We didn't have anything to hide in Bellabog either.
Hearing Blade's name sends you into fight or flight mode. Interesting. Have you heard of the Outsiders? We did. In Billabog, they were kind of calling us the Outsiders. If that is what you mean, eventually. Oh, that's what you're doing, Pansita.
Not so fast. I need to give you two a heads up first. Our meeting with Madame Yukong won't be without risk. We need...
She is a top Xianzhou leader. Oh, Mr. Yang, do you think this could be Bellabog all over again?
Oh, I see.
No, the Xianzhou Alliance is better than that. But Madame Yukong will definitely have a string of difficult questions for us.
That is what it sounds like to you, Pansito? For me, I don't know. Blade, you know, we can, right there. It's just me.
Why did we choose to come to the Xianzhou now? How did we know that the incident is related to a Stellaron? Who leaked their information to us? Careless answers mean distrust and potential hostility, which would make things much harder for us.
Huh, crud. One of us is gonna blurt something out.
That
or
is
get
you,
something
March.
wrong, I just know it.
That is you, Mars. That is you. Spider-Man of HSR. You guys know what I'm talking about.
What if she thinks we're with the Stellaron hunters? Never mind the Alliance. Even I don't trust them.
She's right. If we're too scripted, it'll sound like we're hiding something. Don't worry. We'll find a way through. Let me do the talking.
Ask Mars to shush then. Oh no. When did you get my number? Thank you very much, Fanchale. That kind of, yeah, right. Arigato gozaimasu for the support. March 7th is the Tom Holland of HSR. Yes! 7,000%. Yes. You have to survive. Yeah, right. Why does it keep saying noodles? Okay, Fancy though, I don't know what happened to this one. It kind of translates it, and it translates your name to noodles instead of bread. Pan means bread, right? Is it not? Yes, what? What are you trying to say? You were here either to seek immortality. Who here wants immortality? Yeah. Seek the Stellaron. Kick? No, not yet. You know what, Kevin? Because Kick is being asked by many. I will try to do this. I think I'll start streaming on Kick as well, starting tomorrow. I'll try to set it up tomorrow. Okay, eventually. Take care. See you later. Thank you very much for dropping by. It was fun. Please be careful. Oh, wait. Okay, those are the flying boat thingies that we came on. I thought that was a fish.
An ancient game to make your brain feel brand new. Celestial Jade.
I knew it. I knew it.
An ancient
I need to find another way. That was a fairy, yes. I cannot go that way, I cannot go this way. I think I can go this way, maybe? But... oh, cats! Let me find cats. There. I hope it works. Lily. I will stab whoever tries to stop me. Oh, hey.
Oh, you're here already? Sorry to keep you waiting. Madame Yukong is expecting you.
Are you not coming?
I've brought Madame Helmmaster up to speed. It's over to you now.
Hello there, Solo. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How have you been?
Yes, madam.
Heads up, no art for a few days. Oh, I see, I see, I see. Oh. Right, only PC for now. Yeah, that's good. I don't know why I said that is good, but... without art, will you... okay, never mind. I hope you find something else that kind of makes you happy, Audrey. Until... wait, her hair! Her hair kind of looks like mine, I guess. You want to ask who I'm wishing for? I'm trying to get Ashwell, but I lost my first 50-50 on this game. Silver Wolf or even a Sia? I do not know who they are. If I'm being honest, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, right. Art on phone is not an easy task. That's impressive.
Report the losses to General Jing Yuan and find someone from the
I
Divination
like her
Commission.
voice.
I can't just stand there watching while we deal with this mess. Greetings, guests from the Astral Express.
You're a fox too.
Ting Yun has informed me of the purpose of your visit. Receiving guests isn't normally one of my responsibilities. But since you know about the Stellaron and have stated that you want to help the Law Fu, I thought I should at least meet you in person.
Is she a playable character? Is she? Is she? Also, you heard Fate Phase 2 is also coming soon. Oh, they're going to change the current Fate banner thingy. She's a 4-star. Aha! Thank you for letting me know. How old is this game? It came out in 2023. So... 3? 4?
And politely decline your proposal.
Wonderful. She has a tail. I will
The Xianzhou
shush.
Alliance knows what a Stellaron is, and is more than capable of handling it ourselves. We have been around for over 8,000 years, and weathered countless dangers and crises. While the situation is serious, we have more than enough resources to spare. Outsider help is not needed on this occasion.
HSR is younger than Genshin. Yes, yes. This specific one, I think. There's Honkai Impact 3rd as well. I'm just guessing here. That might be older than Genshin. When did they add dark in the game? I don't know. By the way, Gilgamesh and Rin will face the Fate Phase 2. Oh? I've heard of the name, but I do not know how that person looks. Wait, what? She's so pretty, right? It will be 3-year anniversary next patch. Oh, I joined the game at the very right time. I'm lucky me.
You are guests from afar. There is no reason for this matter to concern you. Am I making myself clear?
From what we've gathered, the influence of the Stellaron can still be contained. If we can locate it in time and contain it, it's possible that we can restore any space and any individuals affected by the corrosion.
Also, I have a question. I have this thing with which I can claim one character from the store. Is it good to claim Welt? Is he a good unit?
We have experience in preventing Stellaron disasters, and we've only come here to lend you that experience.
I've said this and I'll say it again. This is an internal affair of the Xianzhou Alliance, and there is no need for the Astral Express to get involved. I decided to arrange a meeting with you as a gesture of respect, but my decision is final.
Open your eyes. Oh, you close your eyes. They will add new characters to store next patch. Robin, Hoo, and give another golden thing. Oh, then we will have 2 golden thingies if I save the current one. He is situational for now. Welt is going to get buffed as well. Open your eyes.
But...
Oh, stop! Yeah, you stop at that. I'm going to send all these pictures on Discord.
Never mind, Mr. Yang. If the Xianzhou Alliance say they can handle it, then we're wasting our breath. Let's go.
For golden
I'm afraid that's impossible.
Whoa,
Huh?
Robin comes
And what's
in
that
right
supposed
away.
to mean?
It's only been a few days since the presence of a Stellaron was detected on the Law Fu. Starskiff Haven has been under full lockdown. No one has been permitted to leave. How did you come to know of the incident? And what led you to conclude that it was linked to a Stellaron? I acquired the access history of Starskiff Haven. Not long ago, someone hacked into the system and opened the Jade Gate, before guiding you, the Astral Express, into our territory. The hacker was skillful and even taunted us with her seal. Her name is Silverwolf, a member of the Stellaron Hunters.
Star Wolf. Okay. Oh wait, no Star. Sheesh now. So Silver Wolf. Shadow. This is a character that you like, right? The hacker lady.
What say you in your defense?
What say you? I say no, nothing.
You are forbidden from leaving the Skyfaring Commission until the aforementioned questions have been investigated.
Don't be too harsh, Yukong. If this gets out, the whole galaxy will think the Alliance has forgotten how to treat our guests.
General Jing Yuan.
It's very unlikely that the Express has joined forces with the Stellaron hunters. They are mortal enemies, after all. Apologies for interrupting your meeting. My name is Jing Yuan. I'm the general of the Cloud Knights here on the Law Fu.
General, this is an internal affair for the Law Fu.
I fully agree with you, Helm Master Yukong. This is indeed an internal affair.
Okay, sleep well, Kevin. Thank you very much for dropping by. I'll see you tomorrow. Do not slip and fall. Stay safe.
I am sorry, guests of the Astral Express. It is true that there is a Stellaron on the Lo Fu, but I'm afraid I cannot accept your kind offer to help resolve the issue. This is a
Sign now.
Xianzhou matter, and it is our responsibility to handle it.
Yes, yes, Ash. Star Wolf, the War of the Clones. This is not New Roulette. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. This is not him. Stell was a part for Stellaron Hunter. At the past, to say.
Of course, it would be inappropriate of me to let you return without something to show for it. While I cannot accept your help with regard to the Stellaron, I do have a favor to ask. Please, after you.
Wow. Right, right. Sounds like the same voice actor. Yeah. Alejandro Saab, right? Sino it is. Well, you picked Kafka, so how is she doing? Her code is great. I am not focused on building her right now. So, yeah, right. I mean, it kind of makes sense that it's not the right time to farm for... It's not artifact, relics, right? Yeah, right. She's surviving somehow. Oh, General. General who? That guy?
The Astral Express. I must confess that the train's reputation precedes it, such that it is often close to my thoughts. How delightful to come face to face with its passengers.
Time for a hydration or a snack. I got a snack.
It's an honor to meet you, General. May I ask what the favor you spoke of is? A matter that requires capable people such as yourselves. We captured a member of the Stellaron Hunters a few days ago, who goes by the name of Blade.
Right when I wanted to have a snack, Blade is mentioned.
During our investigation, the Divination Commission, the department in charge of intelligence processing, intercepted a transmission sent out by his accomplice, Kafka, who has managed to hide aboard the ship. As for where that transmission was destined...
The Express. Go on. The Express.
I have some knowledge of your relationship with the Stellaron Hunters. The Divination Commission is convinced that you made an alliance with them. I say that's impossible. The crew of the Astral Express are honorable people whose valiant deeds are lauded across the universe. There must have been a misunderstanding.
Oh, right.
As such, I came to the conclusion that the communication must have been an attempt by the Stellaron hunters to sow dissent between us.
Say nothing at all would be the nice thing to do.
We can handle the Stellaron, but it will take time and will require the bulk of the Cloud Knights on the ship. It is this Kafka that concerns me.
Mm-hmm.
The longer she stays on the ship, the bigger the threat she will pose.
I like her.
Since the Stellaron hunters lured you to our ship, we shall move with the current. You are hereby authorized to do as you deem fit on the Luofu, with the goal of bringing Kafka out of the shadows and under our control. Doing so would clear the misunderstanding between us, reveal the true intentions of the Stellaron hunters, and help us understand their connection to the Stellaron burst. What say you, my astral guests?
What do you think?
Our expedition was focused on the Stellaron, was it not? Well, anyways, I think that would be nice.
If you are able to capture this Stellaron hunter, the Xianzhou will be indebted to you. The Luofu never fails to reward that which is given.
Oh, really now?
Okay.
Wonderful. It's a deal then. I shall notify Yukong that all intel is to be shared with you, and that our best personnel are to aid you in your search. If there's anything the Skyfaring Commission or the Cloud Knights can do for you during your stay, don't hesitate to make it known.
Okay, Shadow. Take care. I'll see you soon. Do not slip and fall like a baka, and be happy. Right. Go away. Are you looking for me? Oh, that was fun. I like this. Do we have a teapot in this game? Or something like that? Well, it's maybe me. I was not trying to talk to you. Is this something you're allowed to touch? Well, I do not know. You tell me. Collect.
I think we only scratched the surface of this General Jing Yuan.
I don't think anyone is on our side.
I don't know about strange, but my gut tells me something is off. That's it. A minor detail, but curious. He avoided talking about Blade.
Because...
Since the Cloud Knights have already captured a Stellaron hunter, why not use him to get to Kafka? Why rely on us? The Xianzhou is reluctant to involve outsiders in the Stellaron disaster, so why is it so keen on letting us capture a Stellaron hunter?
Okay. Right. He is using us as a bait, is he?
Yes.
Oh.
The only sensible conclusion I can draw is that Blade had already escaped when Jing Yuan spoke to us, provided they even captured him in the first place. Therefore, given our connection to Kafka, we represent the only way of luring the Stellaron hunters in. That's why he asked for our help. He didn't want to let anyone else find out that Blade had already escaped.
Blade sounds like
Now that we
he
figured
is...
that out, perhaps we can get closer to the core of what's happening here.
This quest is all about rescuing Blade. Audrey. Ha. Right, wait now. I can pass through NPCs and I cannot pass through this holographic thingy of his. Oh, never mind, I cannot. Not anymore.
Master Diviner, you heard our discussion. What do you make of it?
What do I make of it? The way of heaven is apparent, but the heart of humanity is often deceptive. Are you asking me to divine their true intentions?
That won't be necessary. The crew has nothing to do with the incident. Of that, I am almost certain. It isn't their intentions that trouble me. All I want is for them to lure out the one we're after.
Wasn't that my idea, General?
Indeed. Your counsel has always been a great help to me. You may use your discretion on the matters ahead of us.
Why don't you retire early and I use my discretion full time?
It is still too soon, unfortunately. If something goes wrong, you'll need a general to take the blame. How could I simply walk away and put you at such risk?
Really now?
If you'd brought me that blade earlier, none of this would have been necessary. Wait, what are you up to exactly? Xingyuan, did you let him escape on purpose?
Me? I had no idea he might escape. Unlike you, my gaze never travels beyond the horizon. I take full responsibility. The Cloud Knights failed in their duty.
I can understand. There's a lot to take care of on the Xianzhou. You were bound to miss something. Thank goodness I'm here. On that note, perhaps it's about time you finally nominate me as your successor when the 6 charioteers next convene.
Yes. I have to go now. I'll leave this in your overwhelmingly capable hands, Fu Shen. There are 3 things in the world that I can't seem to rid myself of. The troubles of the Xianzhou, the papers on my desk,
Eat them.
and the weeds in my garden.
General, Diviner Fu wants the General's position for herself. Everyone knows that.
She is very capable, but her intellect is burdened by a quick temper. I'll retire when she's achieved a better balance.
This Stellaron thing is easy. Blade escaped. Now we gotta go get him. Just say the word, and I'll solve this in a flash.
I can understand your impatience, and I know you want to prove yourself. Now is not the time. If you truly wish to become Sword Champion, you shouldn't be running around brandishing your sword at people, especially not a major criminal.
You think I'd lose to Blade?
I'm saying you need to have patience, Yanqing. Governing Xianzhou is different from a sword fight. The only way to build momentum is to work slowly. Besides, we still don't know who's really moving the chess pieces. There is something we must take care of before making our next move. As long as it remains unresolved, we're at a stalemate. That something is the Stellaron. How did it manage to bypass the Skyfaring Commission's inspections and the Divination Commission's predictions? Where is it now?
I say we bring those two Stellaron hunters before Diviner Fu. She'll get an answer out of them in no time.
I've asked our friends from the Express to take care of that for us. Worry not, you'll have your moment when the current stalemate is broken. You are my most trusted aide, and there are some things that I would only assign to you. Speaking of which, Yanqing.
It's gone.
That boy.
Silly boy he is.
I suppose it is my fault. I should have given him an opportunity already. A sharp sword can't stay sheathed forever. My fear is that this might prove too big a setback. Bigger than his exuberance.
Well, he looks like Kazuha aged young, right? I have to go find you. Why? If only I could jump and glide. Everyone's looking for me.
Madame Yukong has asked me to look after you. Seems like we were destined to be in each other's company.
Okay.
The Skyfaring Commission has reserved rooms for you at the Petrichor Inn. When you
There
finish
it
your
goes.
business here, how
There
about
it
some tea
is.
together?
Again, yes.
No. Though I'd appreciate it if you mentioned to Madame Yukong that you got a warm reception from me when you next see her. Better to be busy than idle, I suppose.
Ugh, I felt like I suddenly lost weight when we passed through.
Can we fly? Tell me, can we fly? Like that flying box now? That is such a mean comment. Okay.
There was a gravitational shift. The same thing happens when we warp jump, only we feel heavier.
Alright, Audrey. I hope you feel better soon. Thank you for dropping by. Appreciate your time. Sleep well. Night-night.
You know, you're talking my language. But I like your explanation too, Mr. Yang.
The Xianzhou possesses extremely advanced technology. If I'm not mistaken, we've been in an artificial ecosphere since we arrived at the skyport. The evidence is above us.
Strange clouds.
There's a huge star in the sky, and you're only interested in the clouds?
Yes.
Right.
Got a
Something
problem
with a
with
mass
that.
as huge as a Xianzhou ship should keep clear of any planets on its course. Otherwise, it risks being caught up in the gravitational pull. The sky here is an artificial boundary. I imagine it was created to shield residents from the pitch dark of outer space and the negative emotions that it can generate. Fascinating. I heard that residents of the Xianzhou have extremely long lifespans, which would require them to make great efforts to preserve their mental health. Meaning...
When you travel with Mr. Yang, he'll give you a thesis on everything he sees. If you have the patience to let him go on and on.
Right, okay. Let's get back to work.
Poor guy just wants to talk. He's in trouble, isn't he? He's in trouble. Don't know what he did. Okay. He was saying something. Speak. The Loom of Fate. They also have a fake sky. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of weird. Okay.
Well, here we are. I feel sleepy already.
Yep, that is not like you. There.
Hey, that's not fair. My eyes are peeled this time. I'll make a run for it the second things go wrong.
Okay.
Jokes aside, did you see Madame Yukong frown at us? I thought her guards were about to jump out of nowhere and throw us in jail. I'd rather deal with monsters than these big shots.
You sure you want to talk here?
I mean, not that Madame Yukong doesn't have her merits.
Don't worry, my lips are sealed. But as her subordinate, I have to say that it's Madame Yukong's duty to keep her guard up. The Luofu is facing a crisis, and as head of the Skyfaring Commission, she is responsible for the security of the Xianzhou's customs and borders. She's actually a very reasonable old girl in private.
Reasonable.
They say that many years ago, Madame Yukong was an ace pilot in the Cloud Knights. She was a work hard, play harder type, known for her hot temper and incredible skill. Eventually, she became the head of the entire commission, which required her to learn patience and adopt a meticulous approach to her work. In any case, Madame Yukong instructed me to reserve the best rooms at the inn and have all your expenses covered. She wants to extend the full courtesy of the Xianzhou so that all of you enjoy your stay to the fullest. She specifically mentioned that if you wish to buy anything at the inn, be it food or otherwise, just let the innkeeper know. The commission will cover the cost.
Alright. Okay. We are thankful to her.
Why don't you go back yourself?
March?
Seeing as our hosts are so thoughtful, I guess we should help ourselves. Right, Mr. Yang?
We should focus on our objective first. Seeing as Helmmaster Yukong was extremely reluctant to get us involved, am I right to speculate that the Skyfaring Commission has some leads on the whereabouts of Kafka?
Exactly right. The suspect is extremely cunning. She encrypted her transmission and timed her communication. We couldn't pinpoint her exact location. But as cunning as she is, the Divination Commission has managed to find something.
I feel that what she's going to say is going to be a trap. Tintin! Oh, you want Lady Tintin's number, Hansito? I see, I see. Martisan Lolo? What do you mean, Ash? There, right. There. Go on. Kafka.
Here are the coordinates. It's up to you how to proceed.
Oh, so you guys knew. Oh, okay. You mean that.
Our destinations may differ, but the orbits of the stars will eventually converge. See you later.
Oh, we heard something in the background? I have no idea what we heard. What did we hear?
Precisely. That's the sound of a device.
Which means what exactly? This is a starship. There are all kinds of devices making weird noises.
Miss March, to the untrained ear, these noises may sound the same. But for the craftsmen of the Artisanship Commission, each machine has a different pitch and melody. The General sent for craftsmen, and they concluded that the sound came from the shipyard facilities in Stargazer Navalia.
Hey there, Kiro.
Now,
I see
get
that
some
you're
rest and
alright.
prepare yourselves for the operation ahead. I look forward to seeing you in action.
The Echoer.
While a drizzle douses dust.
Let's take advantage of the rest. It won't be easy to track down Kafka the Stellaron Hunter.
Oh, let's let the Express know how we're doing. More importantly, let's see how
No.
Don Hung's doing.
I don't want to know.
Ask him what he's
Huh.
up to. Then tell him we're having loads of fun.
Fine. Are you alive? Are you okay? It failed to send. I'm glad that it didn't go. That would have been awkward. What? What to the face?
You've been standing here for half an hour. It's rare to see you like this. Are you worried about those two? Welt is with them. They should be fine.
What should the...
Himiko, did you keep a copy of the Stellaron Hunter's transmission? Can I have a look?
Sure.
Not to mention, 45 system hours ago, a Stellaron burst occurred on the Lafu. An unexpected calamity, don't you think?
What exactly are you Stellaron Hunters trying to do? The Xianzhou Alliance aren't us. They won't give you time to explain. Once you draw the attention of the hunt, you become their prey. The Alliance will hunt you to the end of the universe.
What's
Stop
the
speaking in riddles,
thing?
Kafka. Say what you have to say.
What?
It's simple. That Stellaron has nothing to do with us, but the Xianzhou is convinced that we're responsible.
Stop!
Do you know him?
Yeah.
The Xianzhou is in danger. This man,
Hey?
if he's on the ship, then Welt, March, and her, everyone is in grave danger.
What do you mean?
But
Yeah?
Is he connected to that past he
Is
wants
he
to
that
escape?
dangerous of a man?
I can't leave them down there. It's just... I'm afraid my burden has finally caught up with me. And that everyone is about to be drawn in.
Is there anyone who doesn't carry around a past burden? She may not remember it, but even a girl as carefree as March has hers. We tread on a path that is hidden from us. The things we see and the trails we blaze all become our baggage. They weigh us down, but they also give us strength to continue the journey. Try not to dwell on it, Don Hung. The Express spends 7 standard days at each stop. Its passengers are allowed to do as they deem fit during that time. Pom Pom and I are more than capable of looking after the Express. If there's something you've got to do it now. Better than regretting it further down the line.
What are you gonna do?
And you'll come back and travel with us once this is all over, right?
What? Oh no. I'm him? No, I mean, I was him. I mean, I have him on me. Oh, well, never mind. Right, that. Hey, Pom Pom. Oh, sheesh now. I don't think I like it. Why are you him? I have no idea. Why am I him? I don't think I like it. What's for the chat today? Oh, yeah, today's Wednesday. Usually the traffic is less today. So yeah, alright, the message failed. I'm glad your message didn't show up. Baka.
Can't send the message out. The network is down. But some functions still work?
Look, I'm running. I hope you fall. Oh yeah, you stab. Oh my, yes, I forgot all about this guy.
Virtually nothing has changed since I left.
Stab.
Too late to repent.
But that is true, that is true. The story is really good. Oh wait, you're the only one to attack both? Why not?
I've no interest.
There. Audrey and Shadow were not feeling well. Oh, I saw him on standard banner. And this guy.
Stay where you are. I can handle this. Emergencies should be dealt with by professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting is meaningless.
What do you mean? Why did you team up? Don Hang. Don Hang is a bugger.
Dodge this! Take this! Shape of Taishu!
Chicken attack.
The truth of life, the sanctuary, is but a vision. Break!
You're not going anywhere!
That's enough. Oh.
You're hurt. Move carefully.
It's okay. Phew. This one's strong, all right?
Oh, hey.
A little
Oh, she's done. She's dead. She's so dead. He's a healer?
With you
Wait,
two
what?
risking your lives for me, could I really stay where I am?
Nice lance. Dunning is a baka. Yes, he's a baka.
Move carefully.
He can slip and fall. Like a million times, I think. Mm-hmm. So...
The truth of life in this sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
You're not going anywhere!
Eternal the dead return!
Is
Too
he
late to repent.
a healer?
Take this! Rise, Venus!
The chicken is funny. Did you just haha attack?
Bloom.
Yep, a healer
Wanna see
guy.
what I can do?
Should I claim him? Is he good? Is he good?
You're not going anywhere!
Professional,
Are you two okay?
right?
Good. I'm Sushong of the Cloud Knights. I was just transferred here from the Yaoqing. I did tell you to let me handle it. I don't have eyes in the back of my head. What if I accidentally hit you?
Right. That is so true. You're so strong.
Forgive me, miss, but you were too busy being hit yourself. It's a good
You
thing I
cannot say
joined the
to her
fray.
face. I cannot believe he did that.
I was protecting you more like. It's a Cloud Knight's job to protect others. And this area is under martial law. I'm escorting all civilians to safety. Follow me.
Right, go on. Talk.
That was some impressive Cloud Knight spearmanship. Which unit are you from?
I am not a Cloud Knight. Yes, he's just a baka.
Huh. Okay, you're a civilian then. Come with me.
No.
Miss Sushang, what exactly has transpired here? In all my trade visits, I've never seen Starskiff Haven in such a state.
I can't comment on that. I was just ordered to rescue the civilians. Actually, I have no idea either. Anyway, you two just need to come with me. Hey, you're pretty quiet. What's your name?
Why do you want to know?
Can't put your name
lady?
down as blank.
Yeah. Right.
My name is Dan Hung. I'm a traveler.
Okay.
I'm on my way to meet up with my friends.
Oh well.
I appreciate the help, but I can leave the port on my own.
No can do, mister. It's way too late. You won't find anyone at Starskiff Haven. If your friends made it out, then they'll already be in the safe zone. No need to worry. You'll see them when we get there.
Aren't you going to take my name too, miss?
Good question, sir.
You already
Thank
said
you.
it when we were busy fighting. Something. Lo Cha! Is that right? I remember it. Let's go. Stay close, you two. Cloud Knight Sushang will guarantee your safety.
Now, run along.
Oh, one more thing. I need you to write your names down later. I don't know too many characters. I might make a mistake.
What is happening? Okay, go on. I am not Kira. Don Hang can die for all I care. Yes.
Message not sent? Why not?
I do not know.
Long-range communication technology is still improving. Perhaps the presence of the Stellaron is affecting signal transmission.
Doesn't seem like it. Everything else is working fine. See?
Another magnet would
In that case,
not
it
be
looks
a bad
like
idea,
someone wants to make things
I think.
difficult for us. Since Kafka's here, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be that Stellaron hunter hacker girl's handiwork.
Think you get away with your crime by protecting
Andrade, no! Whoa, whoa, whoa. No. No. You, talk to me.
You've arrived.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
No. Only an extra couple of hours. Stargazer Navalia is governed by the Artisanship Commission. It took me a while to sort out our paperwork. I got a sense of the situation on my way back. Just like at Cloudford, Stargazer Navalia's Meridian pin is malfunctioned. The checkpoint there is abandoned, and the garrison is scrambling to locate the Stellaron. With monsters wreaking havoc and the knights scattered, Stargazer Navalia has become a perfect place for the suspect to hide out.
So we've got a bunch of monsters to deal with, an IPC most wanted Stellaron hunter to catch, and we have to do all that on our own without reinforcements? Fair enough. This isn't our first rodeo.
March. A certain someone from Genshin, we do not talk about that. No. Shush now. Dark Haiden? Dark Haiden is busy with the snacks. You've caught a Stellaron hunter before, didn't you?
I was just making small talk. Never mind the details.
I wouldn't say you're entirely on your own. When you're ready, let's get going.
Wait. I have to talk to you again. Oh, wait. Who is Dark Haiden? So you see the cats, right? The cat that is trying to Peekaboo. His name is Kaiden. And Dark Haiden is... Wait. There! That is Dark Haiden. There you go. I'm gonna leave her there. Or just her, maybe. This is better, right? They're there. Yep. The cat that is getting scared is Brownie. The cat on my shoulder is Beans. The devil cat is the devil cat. And the cat in the box is Mozzarella. There you go.
Shall we, my benefactors?
Let's go. You want Beans?
Now, what's
no.
a hunt without a
How about a
hound?
no?
Kafka is still at large, and the Skyfaring Commission wants this problem to go away. I made a few calls and managed to procure this from the Artisanship Commission. Perfect for hunting down suspects.
Oh, look at that thingy. Cute.
Aw, he's so cute.
Okay, I take that back. Do you want a pet?
I mean, what can he do exactly? Are we gonna set him loose on Kafka?
Yes and no. This is Diting, a bionic dog developed by the Artisanship Commission. He has all the 5 senses of the Foxian race and takes them to another level.
I read that Diting as biting dinosaur. I have no idea why. Oh wait. Not in the next 10,000 million 7 Marches. I'm not March. No, thank you. Don't see that.
Be it tracks or scent, as long as he uncovers a trace, he'll follow it all the way to the end. All we need to do is look for any trace left by Kafka. It doesn't matter how good she is at hiding, Diting will find her.
Oh, is it going to do beep beep beep? No,
let's play with his
no.
settings a bit and get him ready.
Okay.
To begin with, let's set him to scent detection mode. Tell Diting to follow the scent of my perfume and see what he can do.
We'll figure it out.
We need to follow these sparkly traces to find Miss Ting Yun, right?
Way to tell me what
She's
to do.
not in a hurry, that's for sure. Playing
Oh,
hide
you're
and
running
seek
along
us
with me?
while
So
Kafka's
cute.
still at large?
Was I going too fast for you? Right? It is cute. Are you circling around me? Oh, such a good boy, this thing. Oh, wait, what?
The
No?
traces. Where did they go? Is Diting malfunctioning?
Maybe. Maybe not. Did you just... Whoa. Oh.
Got it. He says the wind is too strong here at the port, so it's not easy to follow the scent. That's just the psychic bond between cute girls and cute puppies.
Did you just label
Using
yourself
the
cute?
environment to hide her traces. Our girl from the Skyfaring Commission sure knows how to put up a challenge. Let's look around and see if we can find any other clues.
Hey there, Sam, RBI. You like dating? Yeah, very cute. How are you? How would you feel if someone dragged you out to touch grass while you're munching snacks dark? No. Wrong question, Kiro. How will they feel after they dare to drag me when I'm snacking? That's the right question.
Or we could ask around? Look how busy this place is. Someone must have seen Miss Ting Yun. That's not cheating, right? We're just collecting intel.
Oh, it did that again. Very cute. Okay, there is something that I want to ask now. Wait, right. Was it here? I think I saw a pet somewhere. I don't know where that is. This is a thing. So he's a healer and Welt is there too? This thing. The complainer. Is this a pet? Is this like dating? Yes? Oh, wonderful. 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 I want to get him. I so want to get him now. Will he follow us everywhere we go? I really like this game. Oh, thank you very much, Sam. Appreciate it. I do not see that, but I see something else. What is that? Hey, people, come here.
Song lotus cake, guaranteed delicious.
What are you selling?
More customers? A Foxian lady.
She was just...
Oh, no food. What do you know? What do you mean by that? Memory of chaos? Wait, what? Oh, I have to do Memory of Chaos. Alright, okay, I read that wrong. Okay, I read that wrong. That's on me. I see.
You found me! D-Ting's quite handy when it comes to tracking, isn't he?
Half and a half.
If you pick up traces of Kafka in Stargazer Navalia, just switch him on. Don't let her escape.
I'll try my best. Except, I have her on my team. Okay, I have something to say about the design of this Stargazer Navalia. Right. That looks like a severed bird head. Inverted. That is the beak. The lower one and the upper one. And that one over there is the eye. The thing that is blinking. Does it make sense? Do you guys see it now? Do you guys see it? Or is my brain broken? It is. I'm
Who'd have
pretty sure
thought
it
that
is.
Stargazer Navalia might become so quiet? Long were the nights, when the clangor of hammers rose to meet the stars. People used to write poems about the shipwrights here. The Lafu relies on the star skiffs produced here to transport people and goods. Now that work in the shipyard has stopped, our internal transport and outbound flights might also grind to a halt. Of course, the silver lining is I don't have to go on as many trips anymore.
You don't seem to worry too much about the Xianzhou, Miss Ting Yun.
I wouldn't say that. A good businesswoman doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve. Besides, the Alliance has weathered plenty of challenges. We can handle this situation. Just to warn you, if we do run into Kafka, you'll have to do the fighting benefactors. I'd love to help, but there's very little I can do except cheer you on from the sidelines.
Nope, but we can support whatever. The thingy made me see that. Oh well. Okay, great then. Brains are funny. That we can find patterns and images in random things. That is so true. Of course, you can ask. Why did I pick Kafka? So here is the thing. I wanted to pick either Kafka or that lady, Acheron. And then I went ahead with Kafka because evil lady and the code. Right. I have no idea who works. I know that Sparkle was a good support and stuff, but then, yeah, right. I just wanted to get someone that I wanted to play and try. Yep. I don't know who that is. No, it is just because her outfit was really nice. I thought it was cool. The coat. Yep. That is the reason why. Hey little Lance, good to see you again. And then I wanted to get third form of Don Hang, but then I heard that PT was enough for him.
Not a lot of people out there could have fought the Marastruck like you did. I'm only a civil servant. I can't imagine what Kafka would do to me if I were caught in the fray.
Again. Oh, yes. This is the time that I get in the day, Lance.
We Foxians don't live as long as the Xianzhou locals, but I still want to enjoy the 100-odd years I've got left. You'd do the same in my shoes, wouldn't you? Besides, the Madam Helmmaster simply asked me to assist you in navigating around Starskiff Haven. It's no different to any other diplomatic mission or delegate reception.
Wouldn't I? Well... Oh, yes, I did. I had my dinner before I started the stream, yes.
I was never much of a fighter, and I'm not one for risking my life either. Getting D-Ting into your hands is already beyond the realm of my job description.
I keep reading that name as Dino.
I'll definitely be putting in a few words next time we meet Yukong.
Understood. We won't put you out of your comfort zone, Miss Tingyun. When we run into Kafka, we'll do the fighting. And the capturing, for that matter. Thank you for showing us the way.
Before D-Ting can start tracking, you'll have to feed him some leads. If Kafka is hiding in Stargazer Navalia, she'll have left behind traces. Let's spread out and look for them. Leave no stone unturned.
I'm not turning any stones. No. Oh, we have to turn this thingy. What about you, Sam? Who is the character that you picked? Oh, okay. Alright. Oh, Oh, we'll figure this out. I said... Oh wow, I saw Deeting, I thought that was a timer. I'm losing my brain cells, D. Oh. Wait, can I not... Alright. Oh, cue a switch. I'm a bunker. There we go. That was easy. Probably because it is the first one, right? Wow. Right, no, shush, right.
We can use it.
Okay. Now what? Who's screaming? What? Oh, never mind.
Cutting the net.
Oh, how about that?
Nap time.
Relax.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles.
Land forward.
Stand still. The human body is beautiful in its fragility.
They're there. Right. This one.
Look! Deeting found a strange chest. And there's a handprint on it.
I did not see
Let
that.
me see. Slender fingers, but strong. This hand belongs to a killer.
There's a note here too. Take your fancy, there's a reward inside. Oh, why do I get the feeling we're not the ones doing the hunting?
It seems like Kafka predicted our every move. Stay alert, all of you. We could be
Yep, we are walking into a trap. There.
Shards of a Cloud Knight's weapon. Something really sharp caused this.
It must have been Kafka. She's got a scary sword.
She does. She does. So... Is this the way? Oh, wait. Oh, there. There. I'm actually getting better at this.
Does that hurt?
I hope it does.
Cutting the net. Time to say bye. Boom.
Nap time.
The human body is beautiful in its fragility.
Why? You startled me with the second she does? What? What did I do? But that kind of made me happy that you got scared.
Ah, I know what this is.
You do?
It's an advertisement for a home use.
There are IPC advertisements everywhere.
Did something happen to me? Yes. That's kitty cat.
Where are you going, benefactors? Our priority now is to find anything that could lead us to Kafka.
Hi, hi. Oh wow, she's not letting me get distracted, I see.
The D-Tang smells something.
Oh, that scared you? I'm glad.
What's this?
A jade seal used by the shipwrights. It opens various passages. It looks like someone used it and then destroyed it. Possibly
It
Kafka.
is. Okay, right. It did. Don't mind that. It is because of the kitty cat.
I know. Let's go and have a look.
Oh, right in front of me, and I'm so blind.
Is that a grenade? What's that on the side? It's lipstick. A small something for the lost. She's clearly taunting us.
We should have enough clues here to get Deeding on the move.
No time to lose. Let's give him the scent and let him lead the way.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles.
Also, I think you will find this interesting, Ash. Blade appears in Kafka's ultimate attack.
We should have enough clues here to get Deeding on the move.
Happy to see us.
No time to lose. Let's
I
give
think
him
I
the
can
scent and let him
poke
lead
that
the way.
person. Hey there.
Time to say bye. Boom.
Just a little something. Think nothing of it.
Merciful Medicus.
Nap time.
10 days and already in Xianzhou. Yes. The story is really good. Hey there, 11. It's been a long time. How are you?
Land forward.
Relax. Stand still.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles. Soaring above the lands. This is permanence.
I'm okay.
Time to say bye. Boom.
I think, Pansito here. How was Billabog? I enjoyed that quest.
Land
Oh, she's doing.
forward.
Just a little something. Think nothing of it.
Stand still.
Oh, I didn't get the design.
Time to say bye. Boom.
Am I playing 2x? Yes.
Nap time.
Relax.
Mountains move, dragons rise.
Yep. It's auto and also it's it has been sped up. Oh whoa, what am I doing? A moment. Oh,
Stand
there.
still.
There it is.
Soaring above the lands. This is permanence.
Oh, well, no. I'm checking
Land
something real quick.
forward.
Teresa, thank you very much for the song. Appreciate it.
Time to say bye. Boom.
Nap time.
Earth shatters. Heaven trembles.
Not dead yet? Ah, do I need to stop it and do it?
May as well
Or-
kill them all.
Oh, I do not have Don Hang on the team. That is the reason why.
Stand still.
Natasha is helping me quite a lot.
Nap time.
Relax. Time to say bye. Boom.
Mountains roar. Dragons rise.
Land forward.
So, why is this guy not dying?
Stand still.
Soaring above the lands. This is permanence.
Also, a question: is Don Hang the only character that can turn to a 5-star from a 4?
Nap time.
Relax.
Earth shatters. Heaven trembles.
Time to say bye. Boom. Stand still.
I don't think I have anything to do here. Right. Do you like Bronya, Sam?
Land forward.
Or the night guy?
Nap time.
Relax.
I forgot his name.
Mountains roar. Dragons rise.
Stand still.
Doom. Yeah.
Soaring above the
Doom.
lands. This is
More
permanence.
like a boom, but yeah, that works too.
Land forward.
Time to say bye. Boom.
Oh, why? I just need to find Kafka and then... Yeah, it's 11:20 already. Die.
Nap time.
Earth shatters. Heaven trembles.
Okay, he's dead. He's dead.
Stand still.
Who gets the kill? Who's gonna get the kill? Oh, Kafka got the kill. Alright.
We should have enough clues here to get Deeding on the move.
No time to lose. Let's give him the scent and let him lead the way.
This is HSR, Honkai Star Rail. It's a turn-based game. The story is really good though. You have a legendary skip button in this thing. Should I could just go. Oh. I'm sorry.
I'm okay.
Time to say bye.
Where's Zhongli?
Just a little something. Think nothing of it.
Oh, he replied to you.
Nap time.
We should have enough clues here to get Deeding on the move.
No time to lose. Let's give him the scent and let him lead the
Wow.
way.
Great. Wonderful. Ah. So, this way, and that way.
I think we've rounded up all our suspicious clues. But did Kafka leave them behind on accident? Or on purpose?
She sure did put a lot of work into this gag, and I think we're the punchline. Making us run around like jerks? I bet she's loving this. I can almost hear her whispering, "Come and get me." Oh, why don't you go and marry her, huh?
Hey!
Don't forget, she's on the IPC's most wanted list. A fugitive that nobody can seem to pin down. And now we've become her prey while she stalks us in the shadows.
Is it just me or March is being mean ever since we entered this planet?
Let's go, benefactors. Time is of the essence. We must be close.
Then stop talking. Yes. Oh, you'll fall. I have no patience in me. I know.
May as well kill them all. Stand still. The human body is beautiful in its fragility.
The map. This way. I'm trying my best not to get lost. Okay, I did not try to do that. Hi? It says I could. Oh, right! There you go.
I'm okay.
Land forward.
My dating is not working.
Relax.
Time to say bye. Boom. The human body is
A very good
beautiful in
question.
its
I need time to
fragility.
think about that thing. And then... Fictional character, like from a specific game or anime included. Dating? Why are you not dating? Oh, there! Oh, no, wait. Ah. That is where I have to go. Okay. Nope. Oh, that... Oh, oh, I see. I see. Wait. No. No. I don't think I'm doing it right. Hey there, Hayes. How are you? Oh, you do. You've been gifted a membership by one of our old members. Okay. Yeah, so what am I to do? I will see what to do. What are we doing here? Oh wait, I have no clue what I'm doing. Right. Wait. Oh! Oh. Wait. Oh, there you go. Darker lost Baka. I know I'm lost. Oh, I see what this is. I think. Yep, this one. This one. I think I see what this is. No. Now I need to fix that one. So... that's fine. And this one needs to rotate. Oh, whoa. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, wait. Is that one activated already? We have only 1, 2 of these two. Oh. Don't say a word. I have no clue what I'm doing right now. Oh, wait, what? That works. Interesting. Oh, I see. That is how. Okay. I cannot put it in words, but just give me a minute. Yeah, right. Oh, wait, what? No, never mind. This one needs to move. There.
Impressive.
I cannot explain. I think I know how to do that. Right. Yep, he is not here right now. Are we done with the Stygian? I think I finished it, yes. It looks like someone too focused on the game. Looks like someone has very least patience. Right. I cannot go. Ah! Deting. Oh wait, they asked me to feed him something. How do we feed Deting? I don't know how to feed him. I could go there, but how? Oh, that's how. Never mind. Ah. Who is Tintin, the fox lady? She's in the quest. Alright. Okay, question. How do we feed Deting? How do we feed Deting? It's not showing me the way. Oh, he's showing me the way. I am blind. I am very blind. I'm totally blind. Oh, well, hey.
Cutting the net. Stand still.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles.
Time to say bye. Boom.
Right. Over there.
I'm okay. Nap time.
Relax.
Mountains roar, dragons rise! Soaring above the lands, this is permanence!
Stand still.
Can we finish this quest in the next 30 minutes? No. The box. Oh, that is Tintin. We are calling her Tintin
scent.
Lady.
Where did it go?
Oh, when the trace of the hunted disappears,
Oh, wow.
the hunter better think twice.
Yep, that lady.
It might mean the tables have turned.
Kafka.
Marge.
These cloud knights aren't Mara-struck. What did you do to them?
Just a little persuasion to get them to listen to me. But you know all about that already, don't you? Oh, what a hassle. This place is too far for the diviner. See you up ahead.
I have the high ground. True.
Just a little something.
What's my answer?
Time to say bye. Boom.
Well,
Earth shatters, heaven trembles.
Plan forward.
so
Quick! Don't let her
any character
What? Not so
from
fast.
anime and games altogether, or this specific game? Which one is it? I see those things there. Those things are calling for me. I'm gonna do the quest. We don't have enough time.
Cutting the net.
Oh yeah. I was just making sure.
Nap time.
Stand still.
Mountains roar, dragons rise!
I wanted to see if there were any hidden conditions behind that.
Time to say bye. Boom.
So,
The
if I
human
have to
body
pick
is
one,
beautiful in its fragility.
let me think. I need to think. Give me like 5 minutes, I'm gonna think.
No surprise there.
Oh, please disappear.
Relax.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles.
time to say bye. Boom. The human body is beautiful in its fragility.
Land forward.
Stand still.
Nap time.
Mountains roar, dragons rise!
No matter how hard I think I'm going to regret it. Water. Right. 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 How about the dragon boy? He can go grass in the house, so you don't have to go outside to touch grass. So, can we merge 3 characters together? Can we? Can we do that? I want to merge 3 together.
So close and yet so far. You'll have to pick up the pace.
There's no way through here.
I want to say
We need
something.
to
The
think of a
way
way to
she's
cut her
luring
off.
them in is like how you lure in cats.
Don't worry about locked doors, benefactors. We can use the conveyor belts.
That is true, Pancito. That is very true. So... No, 4 characters together. Yes. Okay, okay, alright. So... Yeah, right. Grass doesn't seem like a bad idea. And Pancito, take care. Good night. Thank you for dropping by. Oh. If it goes back. It did. Right. No, wait. Oh, I see. That would do. Right. Hopefully. Yep. Oh, wait. Who's that? Who's that, Kiro? Where am I to go? Okay. Alright. Okay. That should do, I believe. Leave it. It's just gonna be 3 to 4 people in trench coat. I did not say that. Right. How do I go down there? Oh, stairs! Oh, wow. Dr. Tucker. Oh, yeah, I forgot his name. Okay. Yeah, right, that guy. Well, yes, you could say that. Full Metal is my favorite anime after all. So, how many did I say? Right. Because we are playing this game, I'm going to make my life easy and I'm going to pick characters from this game. And then 2 from anime. Okay. So I did say 4 people. The grass guy, the sword guy. Roy from Full Metal Alchemist and Levi Ackerman. Yes, right. That's about it. I'm beautifully lost? I'm not focused at all. Give me a minute. Don't bother me.
Soaring above the lands, this is permanence!
Stand still. Time to say bye. Boom. The human body is
Give me a minute.
beautiful in its fragility.
This way. I keep forgetting I have to ting. Oh, fine. Oh, you saw me, didn't you?
Didn't hurt. Just a little something. Think nothing of it.
Mountains move, dragons rise!
Nap time.
Relax. Stand still. Time to say bye. Boom.
For the first time in forever, I felt sleepy for a second. Right. Go on. Yes. Okay, I think I know how to do things now. Maybe. Just a little. There you
Welcome, Astral Expressors. Looks like you caught me.
are. Oh no. This was all part of your plan, wasn't it? All of it.
Admit it, Kafka. You planned for us to come here.
I didn't plan anything. It was the future. We interfere on countless future possibilities and make the best future a reality. You speak too highly of us, Welt. The Stellaron hunters are merely Destiny's slaves.
Whatever that means.
Best future? Best for who? As if you'd consider anyone but yourself.
If I said best for the universe, would you believe me? Best for me, naturally.
Well, if you want to fight, okay, no. We have a lot of things to
We're
ask
taking you to see the General of the Law Fu. You can profess your innocence all you like, but the General will decide your fate.
Oh, thanks. But no thanks. I can't stand moving at someone else's pace.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have much time. If I were you, I'd make a move before it's too late.
Okay, that's good. I liked every single thing she said. Head off the Stellaron hunters. Oh, that doesn't sound bad.
Just in
Kafka,
time.
you trying to kill Don Heng? You caught him in the web, okay? Oh, right. Alright. Alright, okay. Right. And now. She cannot attack herself.
Time for a shot.
We could do that.
Savor the vigor of it.
Stand still.
I'll use that. Now. There.
Zoning out.
I can help.
Oh,
Just in time.
She went poof.
Just a little something. Think nothing of it.
Do not worry.
Not so fast.
What do you mean? Do not worry.
See you later.
Say bye to Breeze.
Time for a shot.
Oh no, Don Heng. Yes, we need to heal. It's Indy on your team. Oh wait, just.
Everybody. Good times. Time to say bye.
Oh my, he's dying.
Watch your feet.
Oh, you're alive. You're up and alive, I see.
Shatters, heaven trembles. Dragons soaring above the lands.
This is permanence. Yes, it is.
Stand still.
Go on.
May
I
as well
don't
kill
think we are
them all.
gonna die. Kafka fighting Kafka, right?
Child.
Don't worry, child. Who's a child?
That's better.
Do not worry.
Ready?
This is not.
Feeling a little dizzy?
Oh no, you got him again. Good. Very good. Everyone is sustained. Oh, don't mind that. I'm just running over your team, don't mind that. If it works, it works. Right?
Just a little something. Think nothing of
Do not worry. This is nothing.
it. Time for a shot.
Oh, whoa. Oh,
Stand
whoa.
still. Relax.
Zoning
Oh,
out.
Don't hang. We're going to
not so
defeat
fast.
I'll
Kafka.
endure.
Interesting.
The good times. Time to say bye. Boom.
No, and then who will get the kill is the question. Whoa! Oh wow! What is that move? I do not have that move as Kafka.
Nap time.
Stand still.
My strength isn't
Who
what it
will
was.
get the kill?
Mountains roar. Dragons rise.
Don Heng got the kill? That is nice.
Finally.
Oh, the cutscene. Oh, I like it. Who is this lady?
Rudimentary.
Oh, you.
Your every move has been foreseen by the Omniscient. Fushun, Divination Commission. I'll be taking the criminal from here.
Oh, wow.
Greetings, crew of the Astral Express. This is our first encounter. Though given that I have encountered you in foresight, perhaps I should say the second. I am Fushun, Master Diviner at the
Fushun.
Divination Commission and one of the 6 charioteers.
You're not a big fan of her? I see. She should say, oh, she did not say boom this time. Maybe next time. Well, he got caught in the web. There is nothing else we can do.
Far-flung friends ought to be received with fine wine. But alas, the heavens, earth, and body are not aligned for such an occasion. You'll allow for postponement of the usual formalities, I trust? We should begin with the matter at hand.
When she came to Standard Banner, you lost 4 times to her. Oh, she's like Chi-Chi to you. Then,
What the actual heck is she saying?
whatever she's saying, you can take it however you want to take it.
If the method of my speech is offensive to you, you need but say—
We received an assignment from General Jing Yuan to arrest the Stellaron Hunter. Thank you, Diviner, for coming to our aid, but we must escort the fugitive to the General.
Essential. I hold a proclamation from the General here, if you care to see. Upon detaining the Stellaron Hunter, questioning and all further arrangements are to be undertaken by the Divination Commission.
Did the General just spare us a walk with Kafka? I knew he was a good guy.
Okay.
Understood.
You guys are
However,
talking very
the General
Kafka.
promised that all intel would be shared with us. We have a right to know anything that Kafka divulges.
Oh? That guy. Can I go one day without him throwing me under the—
We won't make things any more complicated than they need to be. We just want to listen in on the questioning.
Very well. Urgency demands fluidity. The 3 of you shall accompany me to the Divination Commission.
Can't we do the questioning here? The Stellaron hunters are slippery. What if she makes a break for it?
We shouldn't delay. Compared to Don Hang, she is just bad. I see.
While I am here, she will not escape. Only the Divination Commission has the
we're
methods to make her
confident, aren't
talk
we?
and bring the truth to light. The time has arrived. We must depart. Please proceed.
Will she cry if they escape? Will they escape? A cutscene, great.
Let's disembark here,
Oh,
benefactors.
never mind. What?
I may live in relative seclusion, but I can recognize my own territory. Why did you bring us here? Does this look like the Divination Commission to you?
No need to yell, Master Diviner. The Meridian Pin is malfunctioning, and I couldn't find the entrance to the delve. I wanted to get us straight to our destination, but this is the only place I could dock the star skiff. Look, Exalting Sanctum, this is a safe place. Let's just walk the rest of the way from here.
Our hexagrammatic position is fluctuating between the Martian water trigrams. The vessel is stranded and the way is blocked.
I heard the Xianzhou can tell your fortune. Is that how they do it? Anyone can count on their fingers.
Well, you can do that too then. The quantum entanglement. Oh, is it?
That's been out of fashion for hundreds of Amber eras.
I just performed some quick divination, and the hexagram is consistent with our current predicament. The Starskiff cannot take us to the Divination Commission today. Alas, without me in charge to handle the Stellaron crisis, I dare not even imagine the kind of mess the Commission must be in.
It's true. The Divination Commission really can't go a single day without Lady Fu.
That's why you
She's
have to
very
develop
cute.
your talent pool. Otherwise, everything falls apart when you go on vacation.
Since you are clearly ignorant of the Commission's internal affairs, I shall absolve you of your ridiculous remarks. I'm going ahead to make some inquiries. Goodbye.
Why? What about her?
The prisoner must follow me every step of the way. This is Jing Yuan's order.
You might not want to hear this, but your general gave us his word. We have to be present when you question Kafka.
You think too little of me.
Yes,
My
and you're
word
little.
is my bond. I will stick to my promise even if this delve collapses. That's very unlikely, by the way. To have this prisoner speak, the Commission must resort to unconventional means, the nature of which is confidential and cannot be disclosed. Forgive me. But I can assure you that the questioning will not begin until you arrive, even if that means wasting precious time.
Very well then. Hey there, Aurora. Welcome to the stream. Yes, I'm just kind of starting this game. I kind of really like it. I'm starting to think why I did not start this game until now. It is really fun. I like it. Assuming that you do play this game for a very long time, who's your favorite? A difficult question, I know.
I have appointed someone to wait for you in front of Exalting Sanctum Plaza. Once we've consolidated our internal affairs, you will be brought into the Divination Commission. Please be patient.
Okay. We trust you.
Top 1 or 5?
I
5
think
would
I
be nice,
offended
I
someone
think.
again.
You think?
Don't start.
Don't take it to heart, March. Miss Fushen seems like a reasonable lady. I'm sure she's not angry with you.
Really? I thought she was pretty icy.
Some people are not what they seem. As I see as Don Hank.
I don't know how to deal with people like that.
Well.
Okay, enough chit-chat. I reckon the Divination
was a nice
Commission could
option.
be a while. Let's take a look around.
Yeah. That star skiff was pretty cool. There must be loads of interesting things in Exalting Sanctum.
Okay, so we can go on ahead with this thing. Oh, do you guys see it, or am I the only one seeing it? If you guys can see it here, it kind of looks like a cat face. That one is a cat face, but a cat trying to be a Batman. Does it make sense? Look at the moon as well. But then that kind of looks like a fish trying to be a cat with a Batman mask as well. And that's a wolf dragon out of nowhere. Well, anyways. You see a fish, right? Yeah. Kind of is like a fish trying to be a cat, wearing a Batman mask. But I think I will stop here for the night, right? It's gonna be interesting tomorrow. Castor Ice, I have seen her because of... wait. Wait, where was it again? A data bank? What do you mean, stay? Oh, I don't know where to find them. His face is here. Okay. Don Heng. I know who Don Heng is. And then... Evernight, you say. Remembrance. Oh, there she is. She's the one with the scythe, right? The purple scythe thingy. Okay, and then who do we have? Evernight. Okay, her. I think I know Mayday guy. I just don't know where to find him. Is he the hunt? No. Destruction. Oh, there he is. And this guy. And then who else do we have? Iceland's. I think I didn't say that right. Where do I find that person? The fourth person. Oh, there. This lady. Okay. What is interesting tomorrow? So it is like this. If I go walk into that quest, we will be questioning Kafka, right? I just want to start that part of the quest tomorrow, so that it's gonna be interesting start. So yeah, right. Yeah, this is Tintin Lady. You like ocean-themed characters? I see. I see. I take it that you like similar colors then? Well, yes, I think I will just stop it here for the night. Thank you very much for joining. All the new people, do consider dropping a like, subscribe, and a follow. You guys can find me on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Join us on Discord. You will find the clickable link in the channel description. We will be happy to have you there with us. Have a great day or a great night. I'll see you all on the next stream. Stay safe, stay hydrated, do not slip and fall. Good night. Good night, good night. By the way, I had a lot of fun streaming. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. See you now.